finishing his first advanced manual with only 3 speeches to go. Let's learn a bit about sales with Gary Radcliffe.
Good morning, everyone. And I need to explain this a little bit because this one's a bit unique. The manual requires that we have a few parts. First, I'll give a description of what persuasive sales is. And by the way, I've never worked retail and I have no desire to ever in my entire life. The second part, we'll have a skit. I have someone who has agreed to help me out with that portion of it. And they asked that we don't practice. Well, my battery was dead this morning, so we did not practice. So this should be really interesting because I have no idea what's going to happen. And then at the end, we'll have a question and answer period. The speech is a little bit longer, so bear with us. I do work in sales, but not this type of sales. So, stop that. No. Anyway, according to the manual, persuasion in sales is the art, in my opinion, well, in their opinion, is the art of separating a consumer from their money. We've all been folks where we've had good salespeople where we buy something like, well, why did I buy this? Or we felt we went in and we got something, we felt we got a really good deal or someone treated us really well. So there's good salespeople and maybe not so good salespeople who are in hunt of the commission. I work in commission sales. The realtors, I'm sure, work in commission sales, but their commissions are a lot larger, so sometimes we may lose focus. Another thing, in my opinion, sales is the process of using influence to help all parties involved come to an agreeable conclusion. So basically, you get what you want, I get what I want. In order to have an effective sale, the salesperson must focus on the buyer and not necessarily the potential commission. But I'll tell you, in my opinion, it's hard not to, especially the larger the commissions be. There can't be such situations such as if you purchase this so I can win a trip, or anything where you try to fit a round peg into a square hole, or buy this house. I remember when I first got here and to Florida, and we were looking for houses, and I didn't know what a septic system was. And this realtor took me to a house, and it had this hump in the backyard. I'm like, what is that? And she says, well, this is a really nice house, but that's just the septic system. And I was like, no, just not for me. But anyway, she tried to get me to buy it. A salesperson also must have good listening skills, and sometimes that's a challenge to do when we naturally want to continue talking. You have to listen to the person. My opinion is, sell the person what they want to buy. Don't try to force them to buy something that they don't want, because it won't be a good outcome, and you won't get the referrals, which make the sales process much easier in the future. The next thing, by the same token, I talked about that a little bit, listen to the customer's needs, wants, and desires. If you let a person talk long enough, they're generally going to tell you what they really want or what they don't want. Next, illustrate to the client how a particular product fits their needs and that there's value within that product to help them achieve whatever end that they're looking for. And most of all, be honest. You can't lie to people. People, here in the U.S., there's several different, in Central Florida, there's several different groups. Some groups, I'll say those of us, English is our first language. We are Walmart folks. We look at we want the best product at the cheapest price. We want to investigate everything and all this other stuff. That really annoys me sometimes when I just want to sell something. However, other cultures that I've found that people where English is not their first language, it's all about you. Do we like you? And that really transcends both, but in some cultures I found that comes first. So the people need to like you. And it makes it a lot easier. I mean, if you walk up and you're like, oh my God, I gotta go to this place, you're probably not going to sell anything. But if you go up with a smile on your face and you're happy to see the people, it usually has a lot better outcome. Like I said, I've never worked in retail, but I'm sure that's how it works. The other thing with the competition, well, what's the process they have now? They call it showrooming. You guys haven't heard of that?
No.
Well, what it is, you go to Best Buy or whatever it is, you look at whatever's on the shelf, then you look it up on your smartphone to see where you can get it cheaper.
Yes.
So a lot of these folks are losing sales.
Yes.
The other thing one needs to know is you need to know your product cold, and you really need to know the competition's products very good as well, because you will often get questions, well, how does this compare to this? Why should I buy yours versus someone else's? And I've also found that most people want to be educated about whatever they're purchasing. I work in insurance sales, so it's a little bit different, but people want to know, how does this fit my needs, and how will this help me achieve the end that I want to? And they want to understand the process. The toughest folks, accountants, they're horrible. Engineers, oh my God. They want, this is what you do, if you go see an accountant or an engineer, give them maybe 3 choices. If you give them 15 choices, they're gonna look at each and every choice. I'm a former accountant, so I'm a recovering accountant, so I understand. And with that, that's kind of a description of the sales process. So now we're going to go through a skit. We have not practiced this, but I'll give you a little bit of setup. Jeremy's going to be my compadre here, and Jeremy is looking for he's a new Toastmaster, and he's looking for some way to digitally record his speeches other than a smartphone. So we have the inexpensive product here. It's a nice digital recorder, and we have several options of cell phones. And in the book, it wants us to build rapport and things such as that. But I don't know how many people go to Best Buy and people say, well, how was your drive over here? How's the weather outside? But I digress. So with that, let us proceed. So I'll start it out. Knock, knock. Welcome, Jeremy. How are you, sir? How can I help you out?
Thing is, I just joined this club called Toastmasters.
Okay.
And it's a public speaking type of club. I've seen other clubs there that record speeches, but they don't do it at this club. And I wanted to record my voice and be able to listen to myself and hear when I'm stumbling. I've tried it on my cell phone, and I'm just not wild about the way it comes out, because it kind of got this video going on. The voice recorder doesn't sound right because it's got this speaker tone to it. I was looking for something, either a better smartphone or something that could help me record my voice.
Okay.
Do y'all carry anything like that?
Well, we do. We have several things. What type of smartphone are you using now?
Well, right now I have my Samsung. It's a smartphone, Android, and it might be partially because my phone's messed up right now, but whatever it is, whenever I listen to my recordings, I'm kind of fuzzy sounding, and I hear all this background noise, and it conflicts with everything.
So your phone's kind of jacked up. You think you need to know. Well, you have a couple of options. What is your ultimate goal with this? Are you going to archive the speeches someplace, or is it just something you want to listen to right after, or what are you trying to do?
I hadn't really thought about archiving, but that's actually a good idea. I was planning on just later that day listening again a few times and making some notes, but it's probably a good idea to be able to track my progress too when I think of it, so you might be right about that.
Okay, let me ask you another question. I'm not familiar with Toastmasters, but what about your preparation for your speeches? Will you use it to help with that, or will you just...
I don't know, are there ways to use it to help with that? What would you suggest?
Absolutely, there's ways to do it. Well, in my opinion, you have a couple of choices. One, you can upgrade your phone, or you can upgrade the apps that are on your phone. That is a pretty inexpensive way to do that. Well, not necessarily getting a new phone. Phones can be expensive. We have a couple of options in phones. There's the fancy Samsung 3, which is a nice...
kind of an upgrade to mine.
It's an upgrade.
Yeah.
It works great. I've been told that it's sometimes a challenge to record speeches or play them back if you're in your car. The advantage is, if you play them back, it will play through your speakers so you can hear yourself, but you're driving, you're looking at this, and trying not to kill yourself at the same time.
That sounds problematic.
It is. There is the fancy Apple as well.
Okay.
Kind of the same process.
I should set this up by telling you everything against Apple, so...
Very good.
Yeah.
Apple is bad. Do you like iPads?
No.
Okay, very good. We're moving on.
If you've got other tablets or something like that too, maybe I'd look at that, but that's a little expensive for me, in all honesty. I've looked at some of them online, those tablets. They seem expensive.
They can be.
Looking for something a little less over the top of the price.
What about size-wise?
Something I can carry in my pocket would be good.
Very good. There is a smartphone,
Okay.
Samsung Note 2.
Oh, okay.
It's about as big as this, it seems. Well, it's not quite that big, but it would fit in your pocket, but you'll still run into the same issues when you're driving.
Okay.
Another option, which I highly recommend, is the fancy Tascam DR05 linear PCM recorder.
Whoa.
It is. This was on sale at Guitar Center. And what it does is, it's pretty simple. It has a power button, a record button, so you can record yourself pretty easily and still drive and not have to look at it. And you can also play things back. And with the fancy speakers here on the side, you can adjust those. You can even add an external mic to limit the range that the background noise is coming in. So I think this may be a good option.
How much does this run, Gary?
This is only $50.
That's it. That's what I'm
This is
Good
it.
job.
Let's go up to the counter and get you checked out.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help today.
Good job.
I'm kind of watching the clock here. It does have a question and answer period right afterwards. So does anyone have any questions about the process or anything they liked or anything they didn't like? Anyone? And someone please say something so I don't sit. Kathy,
There you
please.
go.
In retail.
And I am in retail. I wish I wasn't in
I
retail.
wish I had.
You do have to go into a little bit more detail, and you have to meet the needs, right, in the product. And where you say the educating, you know, again, we have time here, but you do listen very good about what the problem was and everything. And you do, what we have at Staples, which is a hard sell, is not only are you going to buy that, but let us extend the warranty on that. So there's another sell. You're always going to sell something else along with it. So you do need to go along with that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Elena, please.
Maybe I'm simple and gullible, but you sold me on that. Right the moment you showed me. So, I mean,
Very
it was
good.
very good.
Very good.
Thank you, thank you. Anyone else? Red light. So that means I have 30 seconds. Well, thank you all. For you new folks, this is not our typical meeting, but we need to get some longer speeches out of the way. But thank you all, we appreciate it, and Madam Toastmaster.